Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky has given details of an updated peace plan offering Russia the potential withdrawal of Ukrainian troops from the east and the creation of a demilitarized zone in their place. Detailing the 20-point plan agreed by U.S. and Ukrainian envoys in Florida at the weekend, Zelensky said the Russians would respond once the Americans had spoken to them. Describing the plan as the main framework for ending the war, he said it proposed security guarantees from the U.S., NATO, and Europeans for a coordinated military response if Russia invaded Ukraine again. On the key question of Ukraine's eastern Donbass, Zelensky said a free economic zone was a potential option. Well, 3 people, including 2 police traffic cops, were reported dead following an explosion in southern Moscow. Footage shows investigators, forensics, and explosive experts at the scene. Investigators said that forensic experts were examining the incident site and studying CCTV. Later, the committee reported that 2 police officers and another person nearby had been killed. The 3rd victim was believed to have been installing an explosive device. A criminal case has opened with no one claiming responsibility. On Monday, Russian General Fanil Saravarov was killed in a car blast in Moscow, with suspicions that Ukraine was behind it. Kyiv has not commented.
We heard the explosion. We live nearby, yes, pretty much. About the same as 2 days ago. Our windows face this street. My wife heard the explosion. It is still unpleasant because it happened right under our windows.
We looked out the windows. There were police officers, an ambulance. We did not see anything, just heard the explosion, like a couple of days ago. This is quite a similar situation, not as loud as we heard a couple of days ago. We are starting to get scared to leave the house.
Well, for an assessment of the latest developments around Ukraine, I'm joined now on the line from London by the author and international affairs analyst, Dr. Marek Laskiewicz. Marek, glad to have you join us this evening. Well, Zelensky is willing to cede land on the condition that Russia also does same. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah, okay, good. Well, did you hear what I said, what I asked?
No, the last part was missing.
All right. Well, I just take that again. Zelensky, I said, is willing to cede land, cede areas, land areas, on the condition that Russia does the same. What do you make of that?
Well, he's being quite, I think, imaginative in presenting a different approach of telling Russia that it's not going to get on Ukrainian land. That's basically what it amounts to. And it's yet to be seen whether Russia is yet prepared to stop fighting. If Russia is not prepared to stop fighting, then this suggestion by Zelensky will go nowhere.
Zelensky says the 20-point plan is the main framework to end the war, and that it proposed security guarantees from the U.S., NATO, and Europeans for a coordinated military response if Russia invades Ukraine again. This is nice, yes?
Well, it is nice for Ukraine, and there are 2 points there. First and foremost, in your sentence, there is an assumption. It is Ukraine's version of wanting to end the war. Russia's version of wanting to end the war was the 28-point plan suggested earlier. Therefore, there is no, in fact, that he asserts that this is the only way forward is not, strictly speaking, accurate. It is simply his proposal, or Ukraine's, to be more accurate. Secondly, the security guarantees that he wants have actually been always the same, except now he's put more flesh on the bones, which is interesting. And of course, good. From Ukraine's point of view, there's only one problem. Russia has absolutely no interest in this aspect of it. So insofar as it is part of the 20-point plan, it is of no interest to Russia. Moreover, it is stressed that Russia is seeking, technically, a peace treaty in which, yes, it would be able, if needs be, to invade Ukraine again. So the security guarantees have twice over no interest for Russia. Therefore, again, it's hard to see how this peace proposal can go ahead.
Quite interesting. These strong security guarantees, a military strength of 800,000, Zelensky explained in about this plan. This will be quite huge.
Yes, well, it would indeed. But the point is, it's irrelevant from Russia's point of view. We must remember Zelensky has now been proposing more or less the same sort of peace treaty for years. It has got nowhere because, of course, it is precisely what Russia does not want. That is the key problem. And all the details about the security guarantees are absolutely of no interest to Russia. The one point they would be very, very sensitive about is whether any Western troops will be stationed in Ukraine. If that were to be proposed, there, of course, would be a total refusal from Russia's side.
Oh, well, I was going to add that. I mean, you've been talking about, Zelensky's, peace plan. But then, isn't it rather interesting, and wouldn't it account for much, the fact that US is agreed to these, NATO is agreed to these, and the Europeans?
No. First and foremost, NATO and Europe will agree to anything that Zelensky wants. They've stated this over and over, but they lack the force to do anything without America. So their opinion, although of course it is pleasant to hear for Zelensky, is not very important. And please note, in his time, he has had the support of many, many nations around the world without it getting any further. So the key one is America. Well, the point is America was not, just a few months ago, going completely in the other direction with the 28-point plan. And what has happened since then is the plan was proposed by Russia and America, agreed with America, then please note, it then goes to Ukraine. Ukraine doesn't like it. It alters the plan as it likes and agrees with America. It'll go to Russia and probably be altered again. We're at no more than at the ping pong stage of all this. And the most interesting aspect of the plan was that he's actually offering to withdraw troops and set up an economic zone. Maybe, the word maybe isn't very helpful. And this is, as I say, imaginative on his side. As for the rest, it's all been seen before and got absolutely nowhere.
America seemingly is the common denominator that will make this work or not. Zelensky says the Russians will respond on Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, if I'm correct, yes. Once the Americans has spoken to them, what are your expectations?
I don't expect them necessarily to reply by Wednesday because, quite frankly, it's not his decision. It's the decision of Putin and his Russians when they choose to respond. Often, please note, Russia takes her time. They've been at the game of negotiating treaties, including, of course, with America, for centuries. And how Russia usually works is slowly. So they may well respond by Wednesday. I think they'll probably give an initial rejection by then. However, they'll want to discuss with Americans a version of their 28-point plan. And I imagine that they'll be working with America on this. So it won't be a total rejection, simply that they want to substitute Ukraine's plan for theirs.
One key question of Ukraine's eastern Donbass, Zelensky says he talks about a free economic zone was a potential option. What's your sense?
Well, it simply doesn't answer the key point that Russia wants de jure control over these areas. Point. Finished. And offering a free economic zone is very imaginative, as I said, but it's most unlikely to get anywhere because, quite simply, Russia wants control. Trying to do imaginative ways out of this has a history. Poland in 1939 also proposed replacing treaty over Danzig, Gdańsk, a different one with Germany, but Germany wasn't interested. It wanted everything, including Gdańsk. And Putin is in the same situation. He wants more. This is unlikely to actually cut any ice with him whatsoever.
Still on the demilitarized zone or a free economic zone, I want you to, throw more light on this. Any area that Ukrainian troops pulls out of will have to be policed by Ukraine, Zelensky stresses. Can you throw more light on Ukraine pulling out and then Ukrainian policing or Ukraine policing the same area that it pulls out from?
Yes, you've noticed a very clear, if you like, contradiction. If there are no troops but the Ukrainian police, it implies that this land is actually under the control of Ukraine. Well, all that is a gigantic form of a ceasefire. In other words, the Russians don't carry on attacking and the air becomes under Ukrainian police. Well, before the invasion, it was under control of Ukrainian police. So what? Russia wants it under its control. And there's a basic difference here. And so therefore, all that he has done, yet again, and he's done this for many years now, is present a very detailed points which are of no interest to Russia.
This talk on two options, Zelensky says, either the war continues or something will have to be decided regarding all potential economic zones. Zelensky doesn't want the war to continue. Russia is not averse to it continuing because it's gaining grounds, but in the sense that something will have to be decided. What will have to be decided?
Well, at this sort of point, he is actually going, I think, a little in the land of fantasy. There is no agreement at all. So how you can decide about what's happening to the land before there's any sort of agreement is hard to see. The fact is he's floated this idea in an imaginative way to basically keep Ukrainian control, albeit demilitarized, but Ukrainian control over the lands which Russia asserts are its lands. And so therefore, there is nothing to be decided as yet. And I honestly doubt whether Russia will even deign to reply to this point.
All right, just a quick one before I let you go. Another explosion in Russia, 3 killed, but unconnected to the bomb that killed the general. What do you make of that explosion?
We need more facts. It is very strange, I have to state, and is one to keep an eye on. There are all sorts of possibilities. Are the Ukrainians operating a cell? Did the police see something, which is why they had to be eliminated? Is it in fact not Ukraine at all, but some dissident group of Russians who doesn't want the war to continue? Or is it somebody else? Please note, Chechens were accused of carrying out terrorist attacks, for example, many years ago. And so therefore, we're in a situation of trying to build theories without sufficient facts. Let us wait to see what the official Russians have to say.
Indeed, we'll wait. But the question you've raised about dissidents is something to listen out for or to look out for. Thank you so much, Dr. Marek Laskiewicz there from London.